Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you a Circle of Winter Druid subclass mod build in Baldur's Gate 3. This is a mod that's made by Havsglimt and it comes with a bunch of cool winter themed abilities here. Like you got this Nolic Snowball Storm doing cold damage, a level 2 evocation spell. You also are immune to cold damage, and whenever you get hit with a melee attack you do a cold retaliation on targets. And you also have the ability to walk around on ice without slipping. And you can reduce movement speeds of different targets. So there's a lot of really fun abilities here, and if you want to see the full breakdown, the mod page has a great resource for this, but I'll be going through the full build here. Now, starting at level 1, we want for cantrips, I would recommend grabbing Shillelagh or Shillelagh here. You can use this on a torch to get extra damage in the early game. Thorn Whip is also nice. Now, if you're going to use Dawnstar's mods, there's actually a lot of really good options here, like the Minor Torrent. I want to use these for flavor, but these will be the spells you'd use if you don't want to use them, because we'll apply wet, which is pretty nice. And then we also got things like the Wave Dancer too, which can be useful, or you can just take the Shillelagh there. Now for ability scores, a spread of something like this can work well. So 16 Wisdom, 10 Charisma and Intelligence, 14 Constitution, and 16 Dexterity. We do get medium armor proficiency, so we can be pretty tanky with a good AC. So once we hit level 2, we get to choose the Circle of Winter here, which gives us the Ray of Frost cantrip and the Winter Spirit, which you can channel the Might of Winter to gain 5 temporary health and deal additional cold damage to spells and melee attacks while you have them. So this is basically like a wild shape charge, and it will level up as we continue to increase in level. Now, Ice Knife just makes sense to add in here, and you can also cast this if you're silenced. Create or Destroy Water doubles the damage of our cold spells, so we want that. And we do get a Cone of Cold in this mod build, so it's great. Healing Word's also nice, and again, if you got the Dawnstar spells mod, you can use things like the Rogue Wave to knock targets prone. If not, Thunder Wave and Fog Cloud are good choices as well. I'm going to add in these water spells just because I think that they fit this build very well and make it a lot more fun. Because again, the Dawnstar's water spells. Once we hit level 3, we get our Nolic Snowball Swarm, which does a 3d6 of cold damage. And a flurry of magical snowballs erupts from a point you choose, striking all objects and creatures within range. We also get the Darkness spell, which is nice to have alongside this. And we can also take some of the other Dawnstar spells, which I think Winter's Veil makes a lot of sense here. Create a snowstorm that grants you and your allies 2 to armor class, halves all movement speed. Enemies may become chilled, and you can call down a hailstorm to deal 2 to 12 cold damage. Not super powerful, but it fits thematically here very well. Hold Person is another really good option to go with too, and even things like the Spike Growth for the crowd control. However, the Woodland Being just ends up being a better choice for that. Level 4 gives us another cantrip here, so we can take, I guess, Guidance. And for the feat, I would recommend boosting up our Wisdom or taking the Alert feat. We will be going to level 20, so we do get a lot of extra options later on. Oh, we had a bit of lag there. Into level 5, we get ourselves the Sleet Storm cantrip, which is actually really good to stop concentrations, and the Slow spell here, which can target up to 6 creatures and slow them. Movement speed and actions are affected, and their AC and Dexterity saves reduced by 2. Slow is a really good spell. Now we can add in, again, some more of these spells here, like the Water Torrent's nice to make targets bleed. The Water Spell can possibly maim targets. If not, we got Call Lightning, which is a pretty useful spell, and Plant Growth, which is also nice to have. So you can go with some of those spells, or you can go back and level and take some other things like Hold Person or Spike Growth that we previously didn't take. I want to go with the, I guess we'll just add more of the water spells. They fit very well thematically here. Level 6, Blizzard Cloud. While under the effects of your Winter Spirit feature, you may reduce the movement speed of a nearby creature. Additionally, you are immune to slipping while walking on frozen surfaces. We also got the Owlbear form, which is nice to have. Call Lightning being a pretty decent spell too if you want to take something like that. Being able to walk on ice surfaces is extremely useful for the extra mobility that you get. We also get the Ice Storm spell and Heat Shield or Fire Shield, which we apply cold damage to our attackers. We also get the Flood spell, which is really nice, which can create a pool of water, knock targets prone. And we also get the Minor Elemental here and the Woodland Being. Also, Grasping Vine and Confusion are 2 other good spells that we can add in. And something like the Wall of Fire doesn't really make a whole lot of sense here, so we're not going to add that in. Level 8 gives us another feat, so we can take the Alert or the increase to our Wisdom. And then once we make it to level 9, this gives us access to the Cone of Cold and Hold Monsters. So, huge power spike here. We'll also add in the... there's this Familiar Spirit here, which could create cold damage in an area of effect, which is really nice. We get the Dawnstar's Grimoire. We're going to go with the Conjure Elemental. Really good spell to have. And then something like the Wall of Stone or Insect Plague can be pretty useful. If you have the water spells, the Geyser can be pretty effective as well. I just really like the water spell with this mod. Combines together very nice. Level 10 gives us the slippery magic. When a creature fails a saving throw against a spell that would cast cold damage, we can knock them prone. The bonus cold damage granted by your Winter Spirit does not count, but yeah, you can knock targets prone with this, which is crazy. And then we get to take another cantrip here. The armor is the armor of the worthy, by the way, so if you're interested in that mod, made by Skirby. And then here we got level 6 spells. So Sunbeam being a good choice, Wall of Thorns, Heal even being somewhat useful. But if you have the water spell mod, we do get access to things like Whirlpool, which is just really useful. Witch Storm, which does lightning damage, so doubling up, but we're going to want to focus on cold damage. And I guess we could go with like the Sunbeam or the Heal spell here as well. We're going to get a lot more spell slots as we go to level 20, but you can stop at level 12. Level 12 gives the subclass feature Cold Soul. You permanently resemble a creature of snow and frost. You're immune to cold damage, and when a creature attacks you with a melee, it takes 6 cold damage. It's pretty strong. You can really just take whatever spells here on out from this point. Downpour is actually pretty nice for making a large area effect water, which will double our damage. And the feat at level 12 will go with an increase to Wisdom to 20. Into level 13, this just gives us some more spell slots here. You don't have to, again, go to level 20, but I'm just going to quickly take you through this. It gives you more spell slots, and yeah, it's nice. The Cold Soul is supposed to be at level 4 or 14, but at level 16 we get another feat here, so we could go with something like the Warcaster, giving us the reaction Stalking Grasp and advantage on Constitution saving throws, Spell Sniper to give us increased critical hit chance, and also to take Eldritch Blast. I also like you can go with some heavy armor proficiencies here, or go with an increase to our dexterity, since we can wear medium armor, and there's one that will add our full dexterity modifier to our armor class, which is pretty powerful. You don't, again, have to take the level 20 mod. It just gives us the extra feats here, which are nice. And you can even take like the tough feat for the extra 40 health, 2 per level. So that's also really nice. And yeah, level 20 just gives us extra spell slots. And as far as gear goes, the Hood of the Weave is the best late game item here. Early game, you can go with like the Haste Helm to increase your overall movement speed. The Hat of the Sharpcaster, not a bad choice as well. Or really any other element that you got. You can even do a Wizard Dip and add in the Helmet of Intellect there. Haste Helm based being a good early game option. Cloak Protection gives you a higher armor class. Armor of Agility gives you a higher armor class plus 2 saving throws. So we're going to be pretty survivable here, because when we go into our wild shape, we just want to be able to stay, or whenever we go into our special form here, we want to stay alive as much as possible. So it gives 100 additional temporary health and deals additional cold damage on our spells. So yeah, this makes it harder for us to hit. The Winter's Clutches here will apply 2 turns of Encrust with Frost with use, and then we also get the Boots of Storm and Clamor, which will give reverberation stacks, which gives minuses to dexterity saves, so they're more likely to slip on ice, and then we can also knock them prone with reverberation. And then we also get the Morning Frost. When dealing cold damage, we deal additional damage, and dealing cold damage with a spell possibly inflicts chilled, which means they take double cold damage, so obviously very strong. And another cold-based gear piece, we got the Snowburst Ring, creating a 4.5 meter circle of ice around the target when they get hit with a cold spell. I would recommend having the any type of boot, like the you go with the Disintegrating Nightwalkers to reduce the your teammate's slipping ability here. It's great on a fighter. That helps out a lot. We also got the Ring of Protection and the Hellrider Longbow for the caster here, because this will give us our increased initiative by 3. And since we have surfaces, we want to set them up so that the enemies end up slipping and falling. So I'll show off what this ends up looking like now in actual combat. I guess you also want to make sure that you do summon in your like Woodland Being and things like that, just because they do help out. Water elementals are good. Previously, the Water Mirror Madame was great because it could create water in a huge area of effect, but they changed that with patch 8. So now the best choice is still just going to be the Water Elemental, which is removed for some reason. And going into our cold form here, so you see we're like kind of encrusted with frost, the 100 temporary health points, and we deal additional cold damage equal to our wisdom modifier, so that's why we want to get that up, +5 there, and we look icy. You can also apply the Heart of Winter here to give you a cold kind of appearance. It makes like a snowstorm around your character, which I think is awesome. And you also have the Blizzard Cloud bonus action here, which reduces the target's movement speed by 3.3 meters. On our first turn of combat, we could be cheesy and use things like the Whirlpool, which will group enemies together, Downpour, which will apply water to a large group of targets, but we need to have a crowd control form set up. So Ice Storm is great for that because it's just going to make an ice surface in a very large area, and we deal that additional cold damage on our spells. So yeah, that becomes extremely powerful quickly. We now have targets over here, so we also have this Winter's Veil from the Dawnstar spells, or Snarlik Snowball Swarm here, which comes from this mod in particular, so you can hit multiple targets with the snowballs. It applies the Encrusted with Frost, we knock them prone, and then we also applied Reverberation on the enemy, so that was actually pretty good. And this target has prone for 2 additional turns, so that's really nice. And then we can also use our bonus action to reduce the movement speed so that they have a harder time standing back up. And yeah, it's got some cool abilities, so they saved on the Blizzard Cloud, unfortunately, there. Our trusty water elemental has the slam, which will apply the chilled on the attack there. So boom, we got the target chilled and encrusted with frost. So our next cold damage will deal double. And our woodland being will hold it down with crowd control, trying to hit as many targets as possible into the most advantageous area possible, because it'll make them deal damage and they got reduced movement speed. So we have this target here chilled, and we want to make sure that we can take advantage of that. So lining it up with any other enemies here that we can hit 3 in a row there. Boom, this should take that target out. Yeah, it did. So we dealt 78 damage. It was an 8d8 cold, plus 1 from the Heart of Ice, plus 5 from Wisdom modifier, and then it was doubled because of the chilled. So yeah, 78 pure damage. The Dawnstar's water mod, again, goes very well here with Whirlpool and Downpour both being really good options, because you can use this to fling targets away, or you can use the Whirlpool to suck them all in, and it applies the wet condition in a very large area of effect, so we can apply something like that, boom, with the cool VFX, and then that also applies extra cold damage, and that took out all of them, but yeah, very powerful ability. Now the Minor Torrent cantrip here can be really good if we're using the Dawnstar spells. You can see there, we blast them with water, that sets up the chilled on them, so then we can go ahead with a more powerful option, like a Snowball Storm, which is only castable at level 2. Cone of Cold can be upcast all the way to get a 12d8 of damage. That's almost 200 damage on a chilled target if you hit the max roll, which is obviously really strong. Once we got the chilled set up though, you're really free to use whatever cold damage. I'll show the Winter's Veil. This is from the Dawnstar's spells mod, so their Dawnstar's Grimoire. It scales up to, it gives you additional damage upwards. I guess I'll cast it out. The highest 96 of cold damage and increase the armor class there, so it's pretty strong. And creates the blizzard there. They saved on the blizzard, but it creates this snowy storm, which I think just looks perfect with the Circle of Winter. That's why I recommend using Dawnstar's Grimoire, and the water spells here, they just fit thematically very well. So I'll just let the enemy take their turn. They're in Spike Growth, and oh, that's not good. There, we took them out anyways. The Winter Storm there will give us that boost for armor class, which can take it up to 28 there, or I guess it would go to 30 with the ice armor. So yeah, 30 AC, very tanky, really cool. It does reduce your movement speed and covers you in ice, but it is really strong too. So that is the Circle of Winter Druid mod subclass by Havsglimt. Very great job. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hit the subscribe button below if you enjoyed, and I'll catch you all in the next video.